Welcome to the I Work For Him podcast. I'm Michael Miracle, producer of the I Work For Him radio program, the voice of the faith and work movement. Our mission is to transform the workplace of every Christian into a mission field. What does that look like in your workplace? Let's find out right now.
You've tuned into I Work For Him, the mouthpiece for the faith and work movement. We're your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg.
Thanks for joining us today. And as always, we're looking forward to a great conversation. Listeners, I just want to remind you that we actually have another podcast option for you that is a 1 minute that you can get every day to start your day, and that is the I Work For Him Power Thought. So go out on your favorite platform or even go on our website and get connected to the Power Thought to help you with your day-to-day and just jumpstart your work.
And they're fun, and they're quick and to the point, and we have a great time putting them together for you. Hey, so do you really know yourself? Really, do you know who you are? Do you know those who you work around? Deeply, how they think and why they act and respond a certain way. How would knowing yourself and knowing those you work with make it possible to bring a higher level of success in your organization? The bottom line question is, are you a leader worth following? These are questions that giant coaches ask every day as they impact companies and organizations worldwide with kingdom principles and truth. As a certified giant coach, Jeremie Kubicek, co-founder of Giant, joins us today to break down for us what Giant's all about and what it means to become a certified leadership coach with Giant. In the past, Jeremie has joined us to talk about several of his books like 5 Voices, 5 Gears, and the 100X Leader. I recommend all of them highly. Jeremie Kubicek, welcome back to I Work For Him.
Always good to be with you guys. I mean, you guys bring energy, you're kind, you have passion, always fun. Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, we're excited to be here and have you here with us. All right, so we're going to talk about Giant and your certified leadership coaching program, but tell us what you've learned about following Jesus during these last 20 months of COVID.
Ooh, yeah. So when you think about how much people have had to contemplate, right, and what life is really about, I think for me, the biggest learning has been going back to understanding thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does it look like to actually live in the kingdom when the man-made kingdoms aren't operating the way, or you feel like the storms are coming on top of you, but as so many of us felt. And I think I've really explored. I've gone back through Scripture and what Jesus talked about the kingdom to go, have I been missing it, and where have I been making the national kingdom? Like his disciples wanted Israel to be, established.
Right. And
he's like, no, you don't get it. I'm bringing the kingdom, not the kingdom. And so for me, that's really what I've been focused on. It's really caused me to really look at, like, God, you are in control, and there is a universal kingdom that's far greater than any of the man-made things. So I've probably chosen to not get as worked up about certain things as maybe some other friends have.
That's a good way. That's a really nice way to say, yeah. So people have been distracted by certain things that just don't have as much eternal significance as helping people to just meet Jesus.
I just want to say something. This is why YouTube is a great option, because for those listening, they don't know what Jeremie did. He did kingdom really big versus kingdom really small. And I think that's the key, right? Is we get that difference. And so I just want to help those that are listening and not watching that, but you may want to go watch it on our YouTube channel. Okay. So thanks for that. But so I appreciate, getting to see inside your heart a little bit and see where God has been working in your life. Where did the necessity for Giant come from? The whole birth of it.
Yeah, so it really came. I lived in Russia for a few years in the early 90s, and I've watched communism and what it did to people, and the domination of 70 years and what it did. It caused people to abdicate, and it caused them to really squash them, if you will. And so I took those principles, and then I came back and worked. I worked for Kent Humphreys. He was an amazing man. I worked for him for a number of years, and then I worked for a private equity group that was a domination. They almost acted like the Soviet Union. They were dominating in this one character in particular. And I watched what it did to me working for him. And that was the precipice of, what if we created a business that taught people With the companies, there's strategy, capital, and people. They're boiled down. What's your business model? What's the capitalization, and what's your people plan? And I realized people are an asset, not a liability, if you treat them like an asset. So,
but they never show up on the balance sheet, Jeremie. Why is it that not a single balance sheet shows the assets of our people?
Absolutely. And so what happened for me in particular in 2002, I got all of this in me, and then I got to go meet a hurricane in Cancun, and I was hit by a drunk driver. My wife and I were nearly killed. I was actually taken out for 4.5 minutes. I saw my life flash before my eyes, and that's a whole nother story for another time. But and it's my first book, was called Leadership is Dead, and I talk about that story in particular. But with that, what happened with me is we actually came back from that, and we squashed our name, Giant, G with a big I. We moved it to a little I after that accident. And we then chose the story of David, not Goliath, that David was the real giant that day, that Saul wasn't, that Goliath wasn't. It was David that was the giant. And so that's where we got our brand. And so it was basically humility-based leadership, doing humble things in a big way. And
I humble things in a big way. And, it's all about becoming a leader worth following. Okay, but here's the deal. This is a program where we talk about the intersection of faith and work. And yet the Giant training doesn't use Bible verses in its training. Why is this idea, this plain glass idea versus the stained glass approach so valuable? Because, I'll let you explain that.
Yeah. So early on, I basically have just been working to. This is not proselytizing. There's not Christianese in any of the. We basically just took Scripture apart, and we figured out that most adults are cynical know-it-alls that don't read anymore. And because of that, we just simply took principles from Jesus and principles in general, and we put them into visual form. So the visual tool is the secret, because it creates common language with a visual tool. And that visual tool is like an imprintable tattoo. People can see it, and then they can teach other people. And when you teach other people, that's when you learn. So everything that we've created had to be for an educated 13-year-old that you could actually draw on a cocktail napkin and teach somebody else. And that's the whole premise of this, because we wanted it to scale. So we need you to work on yourself to become a healthy 100x, 100% healthy, but then we teach you how to multiply. And we found that most leaders at best, usually they're at 70 plus. They're generally healthy, and hey, my door's always open, Jim. If you need me, come see me. But to be so healthy, the healthiest person in the room, and then multiply intentionally, it's a game changer. So no one's better than Jesus at that. So we just simply took the principles of Jesus and we put them in visual form. And we have 65 tools that we teach inside companies around the world. We're in about 120 countries right now, and people are using it, and it's scaling and working because the principles already worked. We just took them out of written form and put them into visual form.
I love that.
So let me just make a quick shout out for the visual tools, because I will tell you that whole premise of saying something, it can be written on a napkin. Wow, that is exactly what it is. And whoever, if that's you, I don't know who the visual person is, but they, Jim and I, having gone through the Sherpa training, really saw those and really saw how amazingly it brings concepts into something that is very understandable. So,
well, and
kudos.
It's all about becoming a leader worth following. And as we went through the Sherpa training under one of your great certified licensed Giant coaches, it really impacted our marriage. It's fantastic. Hey, we're talking today with Jeremie Kubicek, co-founder of Giant. Check him out online, giant.tv/I work for him. That's where we want you to check it out, giant.tv/I work for him. Check out becoming a certified leadership coach under Giant. We'll be right back with more from Jeremie Kubicek.
I know how you can stop wasting 70% of your work week.
You heard her right. Ask yourself, do you finish your work week feeling like you should have gotten a lot more done? Ever feel like you need to accomplish more to grow your organization but have nothing left to give?
We've all been there. But to reclaim 70% of your work week, you need to learn to focus on purpose-driven productivity rather than profits in order to be successful.
So we're sharing a free productivity guide from Belay, the modern staffing solution with part-time virtual assistants, bookkeepers, and social media strategists.
It's a compilation of their most tried and true resources for fulfilling your God-given purpose every week.
Just text for him to 55123 to get your free resource and reclaim your purpose today. Again, that's the number 4HIM to 55123. Hey, welcome back to I Work for Him. Today we're talking with Jeremie Kubicek from Giant, one of the founders of Giant. You can check him out online, giant.tv. If you want to find out more about becoming a certified Giant leadership coach, make sure you put the / I Work for Him because it'll tell you about the program they've got, just a free introduction. So, Jeremie, you and co-founder Steve Cockram, who we've had you guys on together, which that was a little out of control when we did a show together with the two of you in the same room. You know, you knew that you guys couldn't train up all the leaders all around the world that needed training, that actually wanted training. So you created the Giant Certified Leadership Coach Program. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was really the premise. We've gotten to a point, we had about 100 consultants, and we realized we couldn't unlock the leaders that we wanted around the world. We couldn't raise up liberators in every city and sector because of the limitations of our business model. So 2018, we decided to shift towards an online platform, which is great during the COVID era. And then we decided to open up certification and literally, and also we decided, let's not make it like there's certain certifications out there that are $5,000 and $7,000 and $10,000 to get certified. And there's this massive price where, like, what if we actually made it like Netflix, where it was so low that why would you turn it off? Mm-hmm. So we kind of created community as the strategy because we're good at community. So we have the content, we have the platform, which is stellar. If you haven't seen it, it's really amazing. And it's just getting better and better. And then we have the community and the community of guides around the world. We call them guides. That would be anything in our world that would be an external coach, consultant, counselor, people even who are side hustle people. And we decided, let's open it up. Let's make it so affordable. I think it's like below $250 a month. And you then partner with us. We partner with you, and then you can sell all of our services, and people make money on basically liberation. The world funds them to influence it. And that's the whole goal. It's like we train people to create and use a system to coach, to lead workshops, to consult, to add programs, to do all of these things inside small, medium, large companies, individuals, whatever direction they want to go. And then we simply give them the marketing tools, sales tools. We give them the back end. We give them the actual content and decks and presentations and all of it. And it was just a way for us to go, if we're going to see our vision, we had to open it up and we had to almost allow it to grow versus maybe controlling it the way we were controlling early on.
You know, something you said just made me really think, okay, really the Giant training is all about bringing freedom. Because when you create a leader worth following, you're helping free them from things that are holding them back. And a lot of times that's just woundedness or childhood experiences or things that have just false teaching that they've adopted. But you actually bring freedom to leaders and then make them multipliable because they're actually worthy of being multiplied. I never thought about that. You're bringing freedom to the masses.
Absolutely. And what's amazing about it is it's actually helping people look in a mirror. All of our tools are like mirrors. When you look in a mirror, it's easy to see that you have broccoli in your teeth. Jim, you've got something.
You got something right there.
But when you see in a mirror, you can see it. Oh my gosh, how long has this been there? And you're like, 22 years. And you're like, well, why hasn't anyone told me? It's like, well, we kind of were hinting, but wouldn't it be great if you could see for yourself in the mirror and go, I've got that, and you want to get it out. So what we do is we deal with personality. So we bring personality in a way that's so applicable that you'll never forget it. That's the 5 voices. We then get into emotional intelligence, which is the 5 gears and a lot of the other tools. And then we get into the skills. which is the 100X leader. And we put all of that together, the EQ, the IQ, the personality. And what it is first and foremost, every person who goes through it and gets certified, they go through their own journey.
Right.
It's actually, you have to be the healthiest person in the room. You can't give what you don't possess. So we basically take people through a base camp, and every month there's a new cohort, and there's 40 to 50 coaches who all get together every single month. And then they go through their own journey, and then they start going, oh my goodness, this worked for me. Then they take it home with their spouse or their kids, and it starts to have a snowball effect of transformation. Then they take it to the companies or teams or leaders. And it's like you said, Jim, it's all about liberations. It's about the idea of knowing your tendencies, understanding your patterns and the actions. What do you typically do that drives people crazy? What's not working? And you start solving your own, it's called self-awareness. Imagine that. And then you become so self-aware that people notice it, and then they want to be around you.
Well,
then they start asking for help.
You say in your videos all the time, know yourself to lead yourself. Is that, I mean, and what's amazing is even, and we've learned this through doing marriage mentoring for over 2 decades, is that, yes, we got trained initially and it was great. So we were the smartest one in the room. But every time you mentor someone and take somebody through a program like Giant, you also go deep. It takes you deeper. It's great. Martha.
So you listed so many incredible benefits and things that you guys are offering, and doing it in such a way that it's a low pain point of entrance. But at the same time, there's so much value. And having gone through the Sherpa training, it gives us a different perspective than people that are listening right now and saying, well, okay, this all sounds really great, but there's so many coaching products out there. There's so many things. What would be the one thing that you would say to people that are listening that says, this is why I would encourage you to look at Giant versus anything else that's going on?
Well, I think a lot of people, you have to choose. So, I'm either a John Maxwell, or I'm a Myers-Briggs, or I'm a pick some group. EOS. Okay. The beauty with Giant is you can add Giant to whatever you're doing. You add it and it enhances whatever you're doing. So we basically we don't have competitors. It's just, if you want to add the tools to your John Maxwell coaching, it's great. If you want to add tools to EOS, they're great because they're just enhancing. They're people enhancing. There's additional programs, and that's part of it. We just decided we're not going to have competitors. We're going to let everybody play. If you're a side hustle person, do it as a side hustle. If you're a full-time coach, do it as a full-time coach.
And I guess maybe that's one of the reasons that we really are drawn to you guys, because that's our heart is collaboration too. There are enough people with enough different tendencies, enough different perspectives, enough different voices. Those are all words from Giant for those that don't know that yet. And that, God speaks to each one of us and deals with each one of us. But having those tools helps us to grow and be that best person in the room.
And I think the part that we love is it's actually a language. It's like 5 gears is a sign language. But when you learn the language, the beauty of this, if you're listening, it works. It works. We have so many thousands of customers, from Google to Leidos to Pfizer to large companies. The U.S. Air Force uses it to train all of the captains and majors. So when you think about it, it works inside systems, but when it works inside companies, it goes home. And that's the beauty with Giant. Yeah. It actually reaches the home. And it goes in deeper. And so if you want to have an impact, and let's say you're already coaching and doing a great job, awesome. Giant just helps you multiply. It just helps you go even further. With such a low cost, you make the money back because you can sell one workshop or one such and such. And
it's so much bigger than making money. I mean, yes, you could become a Giant certified leadership coach, but you're going to be impacting lives. And, our audience is primarily people that are following Jesus. And this is a program that can really touch people at the very core of their being. And that's what we like so much as we went under one of your Giant certified leadership coaches, and it impacted our marriage. And we can't wait to bring it to our team. And we're talking today with Jeremie Kubicek from Giant. We would love for you to, if you're thinking about becoming a coach or you're already a coach, you've been looking for a great tool, maybe the tool to lead out with to help leaders become worth following? Check them out online, giant.tv/I work for him. That's I work, the number 4, him. Giant.tv/I work for him. We'll be right back with more from Jeremie Kubicek.
Want to build a profitable side hustle that impacts people with truth and healing in themselves and their leadership? Then look at becoming a certified leadership coach with Giant. Giant has been in the leadership space for over 13 years and has over 500 coaches in over 127 countries. Their coaches are being hired by Fortune 500 companies and organizations like I Work for Him. Jim and I took the Giant Sherpa training under one of these great coaches to become leaders worth following. Giant gives you everything you need to start your own coaching business from scratch, like hands-on training from top-level coaches, access to an all-in-one online platform to run your entire coaching business, and you get to join a thriving community of coaches around the world. To get started, Giant is hosting a coaching business workshop to help you learn how to build a successful coaching business. This workshop is 100% free, and you can reserve your spot by going to giant.tv/I work for him. If you're ready to impact people and get paid to do it, go to giant.tv/I work for him. That's giant.tv/I work for him.
Hey, welcome back to I Work For Him. As Martha and I today talk with Jeremie Kubicek from Giant. Giant is a leadership coaching program where you can become a certified Giant leadership coach, but it's all about helping the leaders that you invest your life into, helping them to become leaders worth following. Jeremie, you know, what I love about your platform on giant.tv, it's not giant.com, it's giant.tv, is that you actually make, this isn't just for certified leadership coaches. Oh, well, that's what we're talking about today, certified Giant leadership coaches. But if somebody's just curious as to what Giant's all about, you've got a way for them to check it out kind of a little bit beneath the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to take your 5 voices test and figure out your personality and your wiring, you can take that for free. There's videos galore that are free. And in fact, we have so many people who go, you give too much away. And that was the part of it. It's like, yeah, we do. We give a lot away for free. And so there's a lot there. If you want to know yourself and begin the journey a little bit, and you're not even going to be a coach, or great, no worries. Just go take a look. Go find out what your personality is. And to Jim's point, it can be really, really fun.
So, I want to just real quick, you were talking about the impact of having this training go through an organization and that it goes home. And I want the listeners to really understand that point, because as a couple that works together, we got to experience the training, but at the same time, we implemented things in our marriage.
You and your stupid provisional. Is this a promise?
Stupid.
Is this a provision?
Or a plan?
Or a plan. Oh, my word. She's been nailing me with that, Jeremie, for 7 months now.
All I can say is my 35 years of marriage might have looked different
had
for
she
the
been able
better.
To ask this question.
Had I better understood, because Jim says a lot of things that I think are a promise or a plan when he's just casting dreams and making provision, and just saying, well, what if this or what if that? So
it was perhaps the most powerful thing we learned for our marriage.
Yes. And I say that to let the listeners know that this is not just something like, if you're the leader of a Fortune 500 organization, that you need this. You can be a small business owner. You can be an employee. You can, at any level, participating in this can really help in the home.
Talk about taking your small business to the next level.
I'm just such a believer in that. So I just wanted to make sure that I shouted that out. So Jeremie, why don't you just tell people if they want to get started, if this is intriguing to them and they've been thinking, what tools could I better be equipped with to help my current clients or to start a coaching business, how would they do that?
Yeah, so the process is really simple. We have, actually, you've already mentioned the link, right? So giant.tv/I work for him. You can go and find out. And he's basically goes through, and I think it would lead you directly to more video. If you wanted even more information, it's giantworldwide.com. But what that does is that gives you the opportunity to check out and watch. And we have a simple video that people can watch. I mean, and you'll go, this is for me or it's not for me. And you can self-select. It's very, very easy. if you're interested, then we have cohorts and people sign up, and every month there's a new cohort. We do that on purpose because we want people around the world to get together. So we have people from, Asia and Australia, and we try to, put people in different time zones and such. But then you have the Africans, you have lots of different people from Europe, and then America, all over, who will join, and they're all now almost in a cohort for a base camp, a period of time. Mm-hmm. And there's these sessions we go through that's working on yourself. And I mean, what's beautiful is then we have a Slack channel where every single day, every moment of the day, we get people like, here's the cohorts, and here's the August cohort that just went through. And this is Josephine, and she talks about the 3 tools that are most important to her. And here's Alex. I'm a pioneer creative. I've just learned blah, blah, blah. And they're all sharing about their journey. And it's just a really great community of learning and growth. And then we start equipping them and fueling them on how to deal with clients and how to work and how to get business and how to, depending on what you want, what track you're going down. We have a process for that. And it's just it's a 21st century learning with a 21st century technology platform, but with age-old relational dynamics. And that always work, which is called relationship and communication. So that's what we do. It's really simple. Again, giant.tv/iworkforhim or giantworldwide.com for more information. Watch a video of Justin or Bronson, and then you can decide if this is for you or not.
All right, last question. You have been working with Giant for a long time now, and I am sure you've seen some remarkable transformations inside the cultures of organizations because of the remarkable transformation inside the heart of a leader. Just give us one story.
Yeah, so I had a story of a certain leader, female executive leader, who was a nurturer, who was with a group of other executives that were all pioneers or guardians, and her voice was never really heard. And basically, I gave her a chance to really get to know herself really, really well. And she had an issue with domination. She dominated herself on a consistent basis and would undermine her own voice. So it was insecurity that was causing a lot of it. And there was things at home. Fast forward, she learned how to elevate her voice in a way that was not out of pride, that was not trying to prove herself, but a very secure, confident, humble, and where the people weren't valuing her voice. Fast forward 5 years later, she is so valuable because it's wisdom and people are coming to her seeking it. She didn't have to force it. Now we're moving that to her home life. Her home is not totally there yet. She's got there with her 2 boys, but not her husband. So that's the next big project. And but the point is that when you can help someone unlock their potential, see who they really are, step into their identity, and then have the tools, but then they start teaching other people. So, and then their influence goes up. And now that person not only has influence with other people, but has stepped into their voice. And it's just beautiful. It's an amazing process when people can actually become who they're always meant to be.
And you always let the nurturer go first in any meeting. Jeremie Kubicek with Giant Worldwide Online, giant.tv/iworkforhim. Check out what it means to become a certified Giant leadership coach. If you are looking for a program that will change lives, change organizations, impact culture, and shift the culture of our country, Giant is that tool for your toolbelt. Jeremie Kubicek, thank you.
Awesome. Always good to be with you. Thank you, guys.
You've been listening to I Work for Him with your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. We're Christ followers. Our workplace, it's our mission field, but ultimately, I work for Him.
Did you know that God has a calling on your life? It's true. He's called you to bring Jesus to the world. For some, that may look like a pulpit or a foreign mission field, but for most of us, it looks like a construction site, a cubicle, a hospital, or a classroom. Wherever it is that you work, live, volunteer, and invest, that is your mission field. To learn more about integrating your faith into your work and retirement, check out our books, I Work for Him, She Works for Him, and I Retire for Him by going to iworkforhim.com/bookstore.
Thank you for listening to the I Work For Him podcast with your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. Please visit iworkforhim.com to learn more about connecting your faith and work, to join the I Work For Him Nation, or subscribe to our weekly blog. You can also follow us on social media at I Work For Him to stay up to date and meet our guests. If today's message spoke to you, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. Your review will launch more workplace missionaries across America. That's at I Work For Him and online, iworkforhim.com. I work the number 4him.com.